Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 9 Minute Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Scott Packer, and this is episode 37. Episode 37 of the 9 Minute Podcast. So, talking about, as I did in the last episode, we were talking about how people have left churches for a number of different reasons. And some of the conversations that I have been in front of, the people that I have been in front of talking about in regards to why they don't attend church. And some people have said to me, you know, Dr. Packer, just because I leave the church doesn't mean that I leave God. And that's very true. But I think that in order for that to be true, that it also means that you may leave going to a particular place. But then the question that I have to ask is, what are you doing to continue to build your spiritual life now that you have exited going to that particular congregation? Because if people say, well, I leave the church and I don't have to be in church in order to have a relationship with the Lord, and in order to know his master plan for the universe and for me, and they leave the church and then they do nothing. They don't do anything to build their spiritual man. There's no prayer, there's no meditation, there's no type of teaching coming in. They just walk away. Then at that point, you have left the church and you have left some type of spirituality. But I will say that you don't have to be in a local church in order to be connected to God. Okay, there, I said it. Let's just go ahead and put that out there. You absolutely do not. A church in and of itself does not connect you to God any more than you walking into your garage does not make you a car. If a cat climbs up in the oven and has kittens, they are kittens, not biscuits. So being in a church does not equal being connected to God. Being in the right church means that it facilitates a connection to the spiritual. So when people leave a church, which, you know, as I said in these conversations I've talked about, people are tired of religion, they're tired of the games, they're tired, as I said, of the churches begging, give money, give money, give money, and you've given, and then you can't get blood out of a turnip, and people continue to just beg, 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 come on, come on, come on, and that the church has had a building fund for 40 years and hasn't bought a doorstop. I get it. So I would just advocate that in the middle of that to keep some type of spirituality going. And I will tell you, quite frankly, that one of the reasons why, this is just another, is because so many ministers, and I lay it on ministers, and I are one, so let's talk about it. Ministers have gone, well, of course we can talk about the prosperity preaching, which is completely 1,000% out of control. Because what happens is it becomes not a message of prosperity, but it becomes a message of greed. Let's call it what it is. Insert your favorite minister's name here. They are greed. Talking about what all they have. They have this, they have that, they have this. Look at what I've got. Look at, I want this, I want that, and they get that. and then they advocate because it's for the furtherance of the gospel. If it is, fantastic, but for many of them, we know it's not, because stories are coming out, because social media is everywhere. The press is everywhere. We're finding out they're going on trips and luxury trips and all of that. But I don't want to talk about that too much, because that's in some ways an easy target. But titles. I think that if you're going to have a title, you need to have a reason for the title, and there needs to be a life and work, let me say that, work to back it up. People who walk around with the reverend. I'm reverend. I'm reverend this. I'm reverend that. I'm Reverend Dooflop. I'm reverend this. Then you better have a reverential life to back it up. Don't say I'm a reverend, but your life shows you're a moocher. That's not a reverent life. So many people want to be bishops. I know ministers right now that I'm Bishop so-and-so. They have one church, 7 people. There's nothing wrong with a small church. Despise not the day of small beginnings. But you say, I'm a bishop. Over what? You are a pastor and a minister. But how are you a bishop? A bishop is over other ministers. And you have to have a reason for the title, and then an ability to back up the title. I am a part of an organization that is an international organization. It's not just local. The headquarters is in Ohio, but it's not just local there. It is all over the United States and bridges the gap to several other countries. When we have our leadership call, there is nation after nation after nation that joins the call. When we have our conferences, there are nations that are represented, not just here in the United States. So when I say vice bishop, I'm not just a bishop over myself. There are other ministers that I'm responsible for. There are other leaders that I am responsible for. There's all of that. So the title is not empty. It's also not one that I sought. But it's almost as if that it's almost like the worker that does a great job until they get the title manager. And then when they become a manager, people say, man, they were good up until they became a manager. The minute they called a manager, they stopped working. And people go to the church and they see Reverend, Dr., Potentate, Bishop, blah, blah, blah. And they go, really? How many more titles do you need? So I think there has to be a live up to the title. The people are tired of that. A church that shows love, and then they show up and all they find is anger and hate. They're tired of it. And frankly, I don't blame them.